Hello, and welcome to another one of my Slab City updates. Been a busy and interesting week here. First of all, with all the people leaving and stuff like that, it is time to go scavenge abandoned campsites for resources, and I always like resource reclamation. Got a bunch of cool different stuff, building materials, things like that. I think my favorite find so far is hot water heater out of a old RV that was left. Uh, Hopefully it works because then I can have instant hot water. Um, so that'll be real nice in the kitchen and for washing hands and stuff like that and dishes. Because yeah, the desert does interesting things to dishes if you don't let them if you let them sit a little bit, and hot water definitely helps cut through that. So let's see what else has happened. Oh yeah. So one day I'm sitting around the house and this young lady comes up to my house with a towel over her head, and she lifts it up and looks at me, and her nose has been bleeding and my eyes get huge, and like she immediately shakes her head no and is just like, I just need a safe place to be. So I said, oh, by all means, come in, sit down in my house, take as much long as you want. And that, yeah, you're definitely safe here. Um, and turns out there was an altercation with her and her boyfriend. Um, she ended up deciding to call the police and have him arrested. Um, and so, like, the next morning, I know it is hard for women in those situations that they do love the person, um, and maybe they were knew they were pushing buttons and decided to continue to push buttons. It's not to say that she deserved anything like that, but maybe she understands that sometimes it does take two to tango. Maybe she was feeling some guilt in it. Um, but yeah, when I saw her the next day, I made her stand up and I gave her a big hug. Told her that I was proud of her and that it was and that I knew it was really hard for her and things like that, but I really thought it was the best thing to do. And she like broke down and cried, and like that was a real powerful moment for me. Um, you know, being able to be there for somebody and let them know that yeah, they did the right decision. You know, they people may not hear that enough, especially maybe from older people in their life. So yeah, that was kind of cool. And also the the guy who was involved, like bled said, "Yep, yep." He has to do anger management, some community service, and then he's going to be on probation for a while. So yeah, and is no longer going to be drinking because, for the most part, like the dude's pretty chill until he starts drinking. So like, hopefully the message has been drilled in that yeah, alcohol and him not necessarily good friends together. And like, I'm sure you've heard the hub before already about this, and are like kind of wondering, what's going on. But so Friday night, I decided I was going to cook a meal and invite anyone in the slabs that wanted to come to it. I had 30 pounds of chicken lying around that needed to be cooked up, and so I cooked it up. I put out the invitation, shared it on several different Facebook pages, including um, uh, going and telling people as well. A crowd of individuals showed up to have dinner and watch the sunset with me. And as we're watching the sunset, um, people hear a couple arguing, and they're arguing across the street, and bickering back and forth. So like we all curious as we are, we kind of fucking stand up and we're all eating and starting to walk down towards there. And as we're making our way down there, there is a gunshot, and apparently the female of the two arguing, shot a pistol down near the guy's feet, and uh, at that point, the guy was like, "What? Is that supposed to fucking scare me? Blah, blah, blah. I ain't scared of that." Reaches into the Jeep, grabs a rifle, which, and pulls it out, and then points it like he's holding a pistol, points it at Caveman, who is the closest one um, to to them from the party walking down there, and said, "I got this, bro." At which point the woman said, "Hey, he will hurt you." And so we all proceeded to back up towards my place. We all proceed to get back up to my place. And, we're all still, watching the movie. And the guy decides to shoot it at us. And you hear the bullet go whizzing by. At which point, Cornelius was like, "Oh, fuck no, you're shooting at me. We're calling the cops." And she gets on the phone, calls the cops, lets them know that there's been gunshots. And because our adrenaline rushing, it seems like it's taking forever. But I'm pretty sure they got there pretty quick. Um, so that gunshot happened at us. We backed up a little bit farther to get some earth between us and them, but still, at a point where we can be popping our heads up like gophers and taking a look and keeping an eye on stuff. Um, at which point, there is another gunshot, which again we thought was probably in our general direction. So we backed up and retreated a little bit farther away and got up on different areas to take a look. And when we got back at there, uh, they had gotten back in the vehicle and they started to take off um, back towards an area leading out of the slabs and kind of a back route where people don't really go too much down near Drop 7. Um, and driving real erratic out there, all of a sudden spins around, comes back, um, pulls up to the spot where they had been arguing, parked for a second, and then took off and started up Edge Road, and then turned down back behind the internet cafe and was driving. And the whole time that this is going on, Cornelius is giving information to the 911 caller, and anytime that there was something that she did not know, she was like, "I do not know what type of vehicle it was," and I was like, "It's a Jeep Wrangler," and so there was anybody who had information was feeding back, and as they drove away, Cornelius was like, "I'm gonna go up and get their license plate," so she hops in her van, on the phone with 911's going to catch up to the Jeep. Um, Sean decides, "I'm gonna go to my family's," and takes off. And within a couple of minutes, comes back and is like, "Cause there's a body in the road." So everybody started to go towards that way, and I've seen traumatic dead bodies before, and I know the fucked up shit that comes with seeing that. So, and I knew I was the only one with a phone now, so I wanted to make sure that if it was somebody shot and they needed assistance, that I could call 911 and tell them. And yeah, indeed, somebody had been shot. I called 911, and having called 911 in the past with the Cornelius incident, I was like, I really want to identify myself, let you guys know what I'm wearing. I don't really want to be thrown in the back seat of a vehicle again. And they're like, the 911 was like, "Are you at an advantage point where you could see if the person was returning to the spot?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm high up." And they're like, "Stay there, stay with your phone. If they return, call 911 so that we can get people out of harm's way." And I was like, "Cool." So I pretty much sat up here after the police showed up and watched them process the crime scene. Um, there was a young lady who was murdered Um, her murderer was captured before being able to leave the slabs, which is why I said, the adrenaline was rushing, and like it was like, what is taking these cops? Shots are fired. Like, I'm sure they jetted here quickly because that dude was not able to get out of the slabs at all, and it's just 1 mile across. It's a square mile, and to get out of here is basically kind of kitty corner from where we're at. Um, so 1 mile that way, 1 mile that way, was not able to make it. And like he tried to take back roads because yeah, you murder somebody, you probably don't want to take the right roads or the straight roads right out. And was not able to make it those 2 miles to get out of here. So that's what can happen when fairly decent people are willing to not look the other way and get involved. And it's been kind of surreal a little bit because like had I not thrown that dinner party, that dude might have got away with this. So yeah, I throw killer dinner parties. Anyways, that's been another update. Peace, love, and all that hippie jazz.
Send Carl some money on PayPal so he can buy himself something to eat. Then he won't have to sell his body to Albanian men on the street. Where broke hippies living out in the desert, no money and no shoes. And he may smoke the marijuana, but at least he won't spend it on booze. If you enjoy Kaz's videos with their off-the-grid DIY vibe, send Kaz some money on PayPal, or like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe.
Bam! Nailed it.